So our first presenter today is Professor Kate Simonian, who is our outstanding College of Arts and Letters faculty in the area of teaching. Kate Simonian is an assistant professor of English in her 6th year at CSUSB. She teaches creative writing, but loves fiction of all stripes: literary, realist, genre, and experimental. Her chapbook, The Screw, was published in March of this year by the University of Central Florida Press, and she's finishing up her first novel titled Singleton. Professor Simonian, welcome.
Am I going to use this? Does it make a difference? Or can I project? Oh, for the people on Zoom. You guys on Zoom. All right. Ruining everything. Okay. All right. We've all had magic teaching moments when students are learning avidly, actively, excitedly, and sort of willingly exceeding our expectations. I find such classes akin to after laboriously rigging up a sailing boat, finally hoisting the sails and catching the wind. You know, there's this lightness and elation. The lesson moves itself, and you think, I can't believe I get paid to do this. Now, let's be real, these moments occur relatively infrequently. But one of the ways that I've tried to engineer them for myself and my teaching longevity and the experience of my students is through incorporating games into my teaching. So I'm going to talk a little bit about a game, a role play game that I came up with and have incorporated into one of my classes. All right, the clicker. Do I press the red button? It's okay. It's extremely simple. There's like 2 buttons and I'm still bamboozled. Okay, so what was it? Was it the red? Forward, the forward button. Oh, no, it's okay. It's okay. All right. So in 2021, I went to a Reacting to the Past game development conference or summer institute. It's run out of Barnard College, but it was online at the time. And it was it's associated with the Reacting series, which is a kind of line of books and games where students are kind of introduced to historical periods and contexts and major players surrounding certain events, like, you know, the signing of treaties or other historical events. They basically get a character sheet and they get objectives and they're told to kind of play through the event. And depending on how well they go, you know, history can go a very different way, right? It's actually quite cool. There are games for history, but also art, music, history, English, journalism, politics, like, you know, quite a range. So at this conference, I played a standard game called The Rage of Achilles, which was based on the Iliad. I was an elder statesman who was sort of wingman to Odysseus, and we actually convinced the Trojans to reject the horse. So we made history. It was literally epic. But I also attended a breakout session that was about designing your own role-play game for the college classroom. This kind of got me thinking about how I could use this. I'm a creative writer, and I thought, cool, can I use this to teach creative writers and our students who aren't necessarily familiar with the book industry how it works and how to play the game, so to speak? So I came up with Death by Debut, dramatic title. All right, this is a 3-class game. In the first class, I basically lecture them. I tell them about the process of trade publishing, okay, which they're pretty new to. So I talk about how authors tend to come up with works and then how they approach agents. It's quite a competitive process, how they find those agents, how they query them, and how they eventually, hopefully, sign on with those agents on the basis of a particular book title that they've completed. And I talk about how those agents team up with the authors and they kind of work through revisions to get their book to a competitive standard. And then the agent will go off and meet with publishers that they know, usually from, you know, the big 5 publishing houses, and they'll try to get all those publishers interested and try to start, like, you know, a bit of a bidding war, a competition. Ultimately, one of the publishers will acquire the work, and then, you know, so begins the waiting game begins, or the years-long editing process. Sometimes it can take up to 2 years for the book to actually come out. So I talk them through this, and I also talk them through the structure of literary agencies, which are sort of, I mean, who knows about literary agencies, really? The motivations of agents, the norms, what literary agencies look like, larger ones versus boutique ones. I actually worked as an assistant to a literary agent in a former life in New York City, so I sort of giving them the inside scoop. And so then for the rest of the class, basically 75% of the students are given the role of author, okay? And I give them a list of author roles, or they can invent their own. Some of them do. And their job is to come up with 3 extremely brief ideas for a novel or nonfiction work as that author, right? And 25% of the students are agents, and they're given, extra source material to kind of, better understand their role. Now, this is actually extremely fraught because nothing I do is easy. All right, go. Should I just say Shazam and maybe you can click, or I'll try it again? Okay. All right. This is actually really quite a difficult thing that I'm doing here, because here are some of the roles that I come up with, right? First generation immigrant who fled a war-torn country, was detained in a refugee camp and found success as a restaurateur in the US. Trans writer and Harvard graduate, 24, trained at Iowa Writers Workshop. Japanese punk academic who teaches ethnic studies at a high school in the Middle East. 2 twins raised in the Inland Empire. Community activists and Instagram influencers who pair write graphic novels. So you can see that these are like very specific identities, and these characters come from a range of ages, classes, countries of origin. They have different identities, professions, areas of interest, and particularly platforms or possible platforms. I'm also aware that I'm quite blithely casting people as types, right, to a degree. I'm giving them identities, which encourages kind of like a very reductive way of thinking and presenting oneself. And this is really tough because I'm trying to teach students about the book industry. Who an author is has always mattered, just as much, if not more sometimes, than a work itself. And more than ever, authors are being encouraged to write works that resonate with their own experience, even if they're fictional works. And with the, fantastic interest in diversifying, the publishing industry and the own voices movement, there's even like a pressure sometimes on authors to sort of stay within their lane, even within the margins of identity, even if they're writing fiction. So I need to tell the students this. I'd be doing them a disservice not to. And authors, because it's so competitive to get a literary agent, they're basically forced to a degree, sell themselves. All artists are. In conjunction with their work, and represent themselves as a product. They're encouraged to repackage themselves into digestible and often like somewhat reductive identities. It's sort of like a international food court model of diversity. And teaching them this lesson can be a little bit depressing, right? And I can also be seen to be condoning stereotyping and self-commodification. That being said, I do think this is part of the sort of eternal artist dilemma of how to present an authentic self, and to interface with like an audience and to give them, what they want to a certain degree. So it's a tricky balance to kind of demystify this situation and let our students know, especially because so many of them do come from historically underserved groups, that their voices are wanted, right? And yet to do so, and valued, but to do so in a way that isn't forcing them to only explore the parameters of their identity, or to do so in a reductive way, or a way that they think that identity should be explored. So anyway, it's kind of fraught. I'm aware of that. Okay, so in class 2, I basically have the agents are sitting there, and the authors basically share their biographies and their 3 ideas. Okay, so the agents are sitting there, and then they make offers to authors based on whose idea they think they can sell, right? Basically, sometimes authors receive more than one offer, and then the tables turn, and the agents have to kind of court the authors, right? It's interesting. Then I announce the author agent pairs, and then I end up giving like a bit of a lecture on publishing. Okay, so how marketing works, how sales works, how it works to, you know, acquire a title, and, you know, how it's determined like which actual acquiring editors get their books actually slated for publication. For the rest of the class, the author agent pairs kind of work on their pitches. So the author and the agent talk about which actual work they're going to expand and make a sort of synopsis of. And they talk about some preliminary marketing stuff. Then the rest of the class, which includes authors who were not selected, basically become publishers. All right, so they're in 3 to 4 teams. You know, someone might be Pan Macmillan, someone might be, you know, HarperCollins, and yeah, okay. All right, in class 3, the agent author pairs make their pitch. So they present the idea that author has chosen. They sort of give a synopsis and a sort of preliminary marketing plan. And then we have our publishing groups. These publishing groups then make a bid for author agent pairs. And sometimes there's a bidding war that starts. It's a little involved. But all of the 3 to 4 publishers acquire an author agent pair and a title. Those agents and authors who haven't been accepted, they basically get to join one of the 3 to 4 publishing houses that remain, whichever project they believe in. Okay, and then we have 15 minutes for them to do a lightning strike marketing plan. And then at the end of that, I turn on the camera and we record their pitches, right? So a representative of each group will, you know, introduce the author, the bio, and outline like a pretty detailed marketing plan. And then I will show that footage to another creative writing class and they will vote on the winners. And many tears are shed and reputations made and destroyed. It's a good fun time. So it's actually not a very complicated game. It's a bit complicated. There are some steps, but it works really well, right? In terms of conveying the structure of a pretty complicated industry, and not in a static way, in like a dynamic way. I am able to, you know, basically impart various truths about the publishing industry to the students in ways that are hopefully, you know, not super depressing. You know, the truth that, you know, zeitgeist matters, but also people don't know what they want until they see it. That the industry is a lot about selling hype and the expectation of success and everyone wanting to sort of get on board with that. How when you sell an idea to someone, you're often giving them the vocabulary with which they then use to you know, sell it to other people. We also, you know, I stress the importance of identity and personhood as a major selling point and source of authority for a work, but it is, of course, not the be-all and end-all. And, you know, students, this is what's really important. Students begin thinking strategically, not just artistically, okay? And in a way, like, that can be a bit of a blow. You mean it's not just the genius of my work that matters? You mean this is a money-making enterprise in some way, right? And so making it a game makes that slightly more palatable. I've found. Also, a lot of our students are interested in publishing and editing as alternative careers, so this is a way to dip their toes in the water. And of course, it gives, you know, there are other skills that it teaches, right? Your group work, how to pitch, how to present, how to sell ideas to other people. So the results are really good, surprisingly so. I mean, I have a lot of students. Some of them, like, they come in with really elaborate pitches. Some of them make like videos or like little like bring in visuals and stuff. It's actually impressive. I'm like, you guys can do a lot more homework than you say you can. But, you know, I think it's because the students are motivated to try, but they're not forced to necessarily take a very active role if they don't want to. So there's roles for like all levels of extroversion. Many students actually play themselves as an author and pitch their own ideas, which I think is quite cool. And I'm often shocked by how well they seem to understand the industry, considering I've like lectured at them for like an hour max. And it's fun for me. You know, the class sort of runs itself. So I've got a couple of resources here if you're interested in exploring this yourself. I'd really recommend it. It's great if you want to introduce, you know, students to a context, a different world, a debate. Role play is more applicable than you think. And with a little bit of design up front, I think that games can win you more of those sort of magic teaching moments, you know, those patches of smooth sailing as you ply the crystal waters of the higher seas of higher education. And as in the immortal words of Taylor Swift, baby, let the games begin, let the games begin, let the games begin, begin. Thank you. Thank you.
Hi, Zoom folks. Can you hear us? Can you hear me? Is the audio good? Oh, yay. I like the thumbs up. Okay, so our next presenter is Professor Stacey Fraser, who is the outstanding College of Arts and Letters faculty in the area of scholarly research and creative contributions, as well as the entire university's outstanding overall. It's the title is outstanding professor, right? For the entire university. So that's a huge deal. Like both of these things are huge deals. And so I would like to read a little bit about Professor Fraser. Described as having a wonderfully controlled soprano voice and an astonishing presence, Stacey Fraser's eclectic musical interests have made her much in demand on stages across the United States, Canada, Asia, and Europe. This summer, she was named Favorite Opera Singer in the 2024-2025 San Francisco Classical Voice Audience Choice Awards, Los Angeles winners, receiving more than half of all of the votes cast in the category. This year, Stacey has been featured on 2 major album releases, My Dancing Sweetheart, Just Songs, and Brightwork Ensemble, with Brightwork Ensemble, and A Chaos of Light and Motion with Grammy-winning composer Jack Van Zant. Stacey received the 2024-2025 Outstanding Professor Award here at CSUSB, where she is a professor of music and director of opera theater. Welcome, Stacey.
Okay, hi everybody. Thanks for coming. I'm going to play a bunch of stuff, but I mean I'll tell you a little bit about me. That's me at Monk Space, which is a venue in Koreatown in Los Angeles. Kathy's been there. Kathy's come to that cool space. So yeah, I'm a singer and a teaching artist, I guess. Okay, forward. I'm going to get it. I did. Okay. So I'm trained as a traditional, conventional opera singer. But I've always been curious about other things. So I did all the standard rep at major opera companies, and I did the conservatory training and all of that. But somehow I thought I didn't really want to stay in that conservative box, I guess. And the way things are going in the opera and music theater world is that there's more of a crossover happening. There's a lot more technology involved, and people like Philip Glass and Robert Wilson are instrumental in, well, of course, Robert Wilson just died, that was earlier this summer, but are instrumental in that kind of work. Unconventional, is it unconventional now? Not so much. It's an embracement of things that go beyond the standard tradition. So I'm proud of that, and I bring that to my students in the music building. So I have my degrees there just to show you that it is standard rep that I studied. And with San Diego Opera, I did all of the standard rep, did over 25 full productions and 300 performances as a young artist. And then I thought I wanted to move on and do other things. Okay, so I have an interest in music that goes beyond the standard repertoire. And I'm interested in practicing music that embraces multiculturalism and a confluence of musical cultures. This has led to collaboration with modern composers all over the world, significantly with Asian American composers like Chinri Ung, Koji Nakano, Yi Ka Ho, Charpak Makara, Prishan Jung. So that in turn has led to a lot of different projects over the years. And it's been great because I've been able to do a lot of kind of lay the groundwork here at CSUSB before taking it to other places. So this piece I did back in, oh God, when was it? I think 2017. It was eventually released on Prime Video in 2019. It premiered at the Sharjah Art Foundation Festival in the United Arab Emirates. And it's a collaboration with Emmy-winning director Sandra Powers out of Los Angeles. So I'll try to show you a little bit of this. I think some of you have probably already seen it, but yeah. So that was composed by Chinri Ung, and it's about a woman who is moving to the next realm from life to death. And we did it in kind of a, I don't know, more of an avant-garde sort of way. I think the composer thought we would be more literal, but we didn't go that route because we were worried about appropriation, and the director, the theater director, is Russian, so we decided to go with a little bit more of an orthodox approach. Okay, so the next thing, so this has led to other. Oh, that's mine. I'm looking. Okay. Oh, wrong way. Okay. So this has led to additional collaborations. The group of instrumentalists that you heard behind me were the Brightwork Ensemble, of which I'm now a member. And one of the other things, this is again from Monk Space, another piece I did, Sequenzas, Luciano Barrios' Sequenza. We did together Miss Donna Thorne's Maggot. That was another piece that I premiered here at CSUSB. Anthony Parther conducted that when he was just at the beginning of his career, and now he's doing everything. Terry Smith was the director for that piece. This led to other things: the Asia Society in New York City, the Taipei National Theater, Kennedy Center, and Beyond Microtonal Festival in Pittsburgh. That was a performance that happened literally the night before COVID shut everything down. So then for performers, things got a little quiet for like a year or two, but we kept trying different ways to, I don't know, make art. So I wrote a grant. I thought, well, that's a good idea. I'll write a grant during COVID, and we won an NEA. And for two pieces, this is The New Frontier by Jack Van Sant, and then another piece entitled Why Women Went West by Pamela Madsen, and which was done with Brightwork. So I'm going to show you a little bit of that. That's the one that scared everybody earlier. jazzy. So, okay, another example of music that goes beyond the conventions of the standard repertoire. Okay, so moving on. Okay, this is Bright Work. This is a fantastic group of artists that I work with in LA. They started out as a 6-member band, and now I'm their newest member. That makes 7. Typically with a Pierrot ensemble, there are 6 players, but and a soprano. So that's me. And these are all the fantastic players of Bright Work. Yeah, they play music of the 20th century. What the listener can expect at Bright Work concert, at the very least, is exciting, emotionally engaging music presented in a state-of-the-art performances. So we do have concerts coming up. You can find us on the website. So moving on here. So the 2 big projects, well, a couple of the big projects this year that happened were 2 record releases, and this one is with Jack Van Zandt. He studied with a little bit more in the European tradition, and I'll just play you, because I don't want to take up too much more time, but I'll play you a little bit from his piece, The Chaos of Light and Motion, The Atmosphere of Human Thought. This is his bio here. He was co-winner of Best Classical Compendium Grammy with Nadia Shevchenko, and his music's been performed all over the world. He just had a big premiere actually on BBC 3 over the weekend. But I'll go on to tell you about this piece. So the final song of this four movement piece, The Atmosphere of Human Thought, it's a tribute to legendary American composer Lou Harrison. I was talking about his place out in Joshua Tree, the Lou Harrison House, where there are art exhibitions and what else, and concerts and things. I'm hoping to take a project out there. I'm working with Matteo Crismani and Martin Galbo on a celestial piece. So we want to bring telescopes out to the desert and do a concert about stars and the moon, and at the Lou Harrison House, actually. The text from this piece is from the Prometheus Unbound and takes the listener to a Buddhist-inspired journey to a floating ethereal world where ideas and thoughts become conscious spirits. So there's no video, we haven't made a movie of this one, but maybe you can just have a listen. See, it'll be okay. Oh, yeah. But I'm getting to use my microphone. So yeah, the whole fire department of Riverside arrived at my house and came into the house to like wheel Dad I think that's why we couldn't go to your party. So anyway, I'm sitting there in the emergency room with him. He's like, no, go and do your recording. I'll be fine. I'm like, okay, I'm going. So that was me with 3 hours sleep after being at the community hospital. Um, anyway, okay, this is a little bit country.
Shiny, a letter from your daddy Jim came today, and another picture of you. Your birthday is this month. You are 7 years old. I like this picture of you. Your eyes and forehead are like your father. Lower jaw, mouth, and hair like me. Your expression in your blue eyes, with their long black eyelashes, are exactly like your father's.
I'll just play the next movement.
Your picture brought back all the years I have lived with your father and recall how jealous I was of him. I feel like writing about him tonight, so I will tell you some things you should know. I met James Bartlett Hickok, wild beat in 1870 near Abilene, Kansas. I heard a bunch of outlaws planning to kill him. I couldn't get to where my horse was, so I crawled on my hands and knees through the bush past the outlaws, over a mile and reached the old shack where he was staying that night. I told him and he hit me out of the door.
Okay, so our next presenter is Professor H.A. Algan, who is the winner of the Outstanding College of Arts and Letters Faculty Award in the area of service. H.A. Algan is a professor of communication and media here at CSUSB. She has written extensively on transnational television, global media, political communication, Kurdish activist journalism, ethnic broadcasting, and gender in various media and communication journals and edited collections. Dr. Algan serves on the editorial and advisory boards of several communication and cultural studies journals. She is an executive board member and former director of the Center for the Study of Muslim and Arab Worlds here at CSUSB, an advisory board member of the Center for Conflict Resolution Studies and Research at Istanbul Bilgi University, parliamentarian for CFA's Palestine, Arab, and Muslim Caucus, and a member of California Scholars for Academic Freedom and Academics for Peace initiatives. Welcome, A.C.
Thank you, Sunny. Thank you, everyone. I wish I could talk to you about my research or some of the cool little things I do in my teaching. So I'm feeling very, very jealous. And plus, I'm also feeling quite kind of proud to be in a college with such talented, wonderful, awesome colleagues as, Kate and Stacey, and enjoyed their presentations very much. And mine, because of course it's on service, it is a non-existent, uh, and a boring one rather. Because service is one of those things that we have to do in this university, almost like what we have to do at home, right? We have to clean the bathroom if we want to continue using our own bathroom without feeling disgusted. But service is actually not as bad. Here's why. As I was reflecting on okay, it's like, whoa, this is like this 2-page list of um, stuff and 2-page, kind of single and not like listed, but in like a whole prose kind of written service that I've done. And I mean, it is, and it's like, is there like a reason to this? Like, is there in any category of some sort? Does it make sense? What have I done? And why did I do all this? And so, and I came up with like three reasons. One, well, the obvious one that, we are expected to do service. And of course, if you want to get tenure and then get promoted, you do certain service. So that's kind of how one starts, right? In the departmental level. So I've done pretty much all departmental level committees from the curriculum, the graduate, recruitment, and all kinds of ad hoc committees, and the leave committee and lecture committee. I don't know if there is an outcomes assessment committee. I don't know if there's a committee in the departmental level I have not done, really. I don't think so. And in every one of them, you start learning how things work, the policies, the governance structures, the university operations. You learn a lot. And then you do think, of course, it's like, yeah, enough. I don't want to do any more service. I've learned it all. Well, little did I know when I said that, because then here's a few other things happened. Um, and of course, the expected service continued, in a manageable way that I could manage. But then there were committees that I was asked to serve on that I could not say no. So the committees asked. So first I did the service expected, right? And then the committees asked, and then the service role that I kind of wanted to do no matter what. I believed in it. I thought it was important, or I thought, this would be one that if I hadn't done it at that moment, there's like no, there doesn't seem to me any other who can actually at that point, kind of rise up to the challenge. Maybe later, but not at that very moment. And even though I'm like, oh, I know this is going to be so much work, but when you believe in it, when you think you can contribute, you can make a difference, then it does not feel that onerous. So, and then it kind of feels like, okay, I am proud of myself despite this and that going on in my life. I took that one on. So let me tell you a few about those. And then they sometimes become actually transformational in some capacity or another. Um, One is the committees and service roles that I was asked to do. A colleague of mine who felt a bit, how should I put it, marginalized, wanted to be on the Senate and asked me if I could also serve on the Senate. I could not say no. There are some things you just cannot say no. And that was one of those. And I was like, oh, Senate isn't. And so I went on the Senate, became a senator, and then I went on doing another term. This is my 4th year on the faculty Senate. And then I was asked again by and then I also kind of wanted to volunteer because the elections officer at that time was very happy that I, kind of filled one of the Senate seats and asked, oh, if I would be also interested in another committee. I said, oh, what the hell? I've done one, I'll do another one. Again, asked. So I went on to that committee, and that was EPRC, Educational Policy, and was it Resources Committee? And that's the committee that kind of writes all the FAMs on our education curriculum and all of, revises them, etc. So I have read and written and kind of dealt with a lot of for 2 years. And it is I did not realize it was going to be that kind of heavy committee, but that I learned a lot, a whole lot, whole lot. And but then I've also learned things about how some balances kind of work and in the university. And I was not happy with some of it. And so the EPRC chair decided to become faculty senate chair and wanted to run for that, and then asked me if I could serve on the executive committee of the faculty senate. Again, I was asked, and I believed in how he wanted the senate to be run, and I said yes again, just because I couldn't say no, but not for. And I am quite a staunch feminist, and kind of said you have to. Women always say yes; they have to say no. I have proudly said no to a lot of things, but there are these situations that it is going to be for the good of many folks. And I said yes. And so I've been serving on the EC. This is and then after last year, this year, we were also elected by our fellow senators, and quite proud about that. Um, so those are, and it's same with RPT. We all know RPT committees a ton of work. Well, you become an advanced associate prof and then full prof, and well, there are not that many folks. Other full profs have already been doing the work, and now it's kind of even if you're not asked, you kind of feel that kind of obligation and want to help. RPT is one of those. And then I have the service roles that I would do it even if they did not compensate me at all, which most of these things I've done, not compensated in any way. But again, it's because maybe it's the service to the profession, such as planning conferences. I've been in many conference planning committees. They're an incredible amount of work, but is so rewarding because you get to include people from regions and areas that uh, have not been represented. And I am, as a global communication uh, scholar, who studies media and communication in the global south, and would like the many unheard voices to be elevated. I kind of like I like taking advantage of these opportunities, and so I don't say no. I've been on program, and one of the last things I've done is I served on the program committee of Middle East Studies Association of North America. It is the kind of regional studies that I have the expertise in, and I do love the work of MESA of North America. So I, still knowing it's a huge amount of work, but you don't want to say no because it is a good contribution. On MESA's what else? Award dissertation, Malcolm Carr Dissertation Award Committee I served on. Again, huge amount of work of reading dissertations. Um, it was it was it was so worth it. Um, and in terms of the university, I served for 4 years as the director of the Center for the Study of we changed the name. I always study of Muslims and study of Arabs and Muslim worlds. It had a different name. We called it SIMES back then when I was the director of it, and we've done such great events, uh, and we made sure that students heard and attended and were energized. We would have rooms kind of standing, people sitting on it like fire hazard kind of, auditoriums filled, and with wonderful questions, student energized because of the wonderful folks we brought. And so, like, it was, of course, huge amount of work, but it just to see that kind of interaction was just so rewarding. And I still am an active, board member of Mesa, along with Ferzdu here, um, and love working, doing that work. CFA, I've worked as the department, my department's rep at CFA's San Bernardino chapter for 8 years. And afterwards, after some break, I was asked to become a member of the Palestine Arab Muslim Caucus of the, CFA's CRSJ Council, which is the, what is it, the Racial and Social Justice Council, or the, I guess, I'm terrible with the names, all kinds of names and titles. And so I've been serving on PAM, as you can imagine, in this time of genocide. Our work has been enormous, but that is mixed with not just advocacy work, but also for to educate students and community on the cause of Palestine. But it is also, we do a lot of kind of help faculty who is suppressed because of their advocacy for Palestine. So it is a really meaningful work, and I've been one of PAM officers and went to the CFA assemblies the last year, and also before that online. I actually just my parliamentarian this past Friday. I'm no longer the parliamentarian of the PAM caucus, but still a very, very active member. So those are, again, in the service that I would do no matter what, and I continue to do with, pride, obligation, sense of obligation, and last but not least, my current role. I'm the faculty mentoring program director, and I like helping our contingent faculty. So it's been 3 years of very meaningful service. So that's pretty much it. Oh, did I take much longer than I hoped? So thank you so much.
Thank you so much, HA. So our next presenter is Professor Andrew Thompson, who is the winner of the Outstanding Lecturer for the College of Arts and Letters. Andrew K. Thompson is a photographic artist and educator working in the Inland Empire. His work has been exhibited at the Lancaster Museum of Art and History, the Riverside Art Museum, the California Museum of Photography, the Cheech Marin Center for Chicano Art and Culture, and the Walter N. Marks Center for the Arts. Andrew co-founded the Little Gallery of San Bernardino, an artist-run space focusing on San Bernardino and the greater Inland Empire. Welcome, Andrew.
Thank you. So obviously I'm very intimidated following everybody's stuff, and I'll try to do this as quickly as possible. Um, I had to think about how I even got here. Like, how did I get nominated? Thank you, Kathy, for nominating me and for being getting this award. And so, trying to come up with a speech or whatever, I came up with three things. First of all, is do the best you can. Anybody who knows me knows that I carry a to-do list with me everywhere I go, and on the top right is do the best you can in some form of variation, or stay on your path, or uh, some variation of doing the best you can. And it, to me, it's a reminder that I can't control anything but my breath and my reaction to the situations around me. And all I can do is work to the best of my abilities. And sometimes I'm not as, you know, working to my strengths. And I just have to accept that and then keep going. I view teaching as a service job. And so I tell my students that I'm here to serve their interests in learning and to share knowledge. And so I tell them that I'm working to the best of my abilities, and I expect you to work to the best of your abilities. And for example, we are having a critique today. I've already told my students, like, your negatives are trash. It's okay. They're gonna get better. It won't be like this the entire semester. Just okay. Accept it. Embrace it. We're gonna keep on moving. It's gonna get better. Hold on to this. You know what I mean? Hold on to this so we can compare it midway through and towards the end. Because we're all trying to work to the best of our abilities. Did I lose the button? Okay, let's see, forward. Um, so I always try my best to be empathetic and personable. Um, I always aim to interact with students with empathy and understanding, and I make a great effort to memorize each student's name within the first two classes. And when I was taking grad school, I took some acting lessons, and so I'd play this memory game. Some of you actors might know it. I don't remember what it's called. Um, and I tell everybody to, you can call me Brad until I get your name right. And I ask, you know what I mean? Like, if I don't know your name, you can call me Brad. And I say, I will know your name and what you're interested in within 2-3 weeks. And I promise I'll forget by the next semester. So don't hold it against me. You know, we'll just, again, we're doing the best we can, but I'm trying to connect with them in ways that I guess validate them. I don't think about it like this, but just like I like to say that whether I'm in a classroom or in a parking lot, this is me. You know what I mean? I'm going to share the information. I believe information is for sharing, and I'm going to anybody who's interested, I'm going to give them everything I have. And if you're not interested, I'm going to walk away, peace out. You know what I mean? Like, no sweat off my back. But I do my best to listen to their questions and answer them in details. And I do my best to make the class fun, informal, and while remaining rigorous and informative. And I'm not really doing it now, but I usually walk around during, I'll give you a little bit. I'll do the whole performance while I forgot your name, HR, HA. Pleasure to meet you, HA manager. You can call me Brad. So excuse me. So it's a bit of a work the crowd stand up routine, but it is important to me as somebody who I'm interested in stuff, but sometimes it's hard to stay engaged, and so I try to make sure that I call people. If I see you on your phone, I'm going to ask you how your Amazon shopping is going. We're going to and then try to bring it back to the topic at hand. So anyway, so I'm always trying to be empathetic and personable as a way to connect with the students. And then finally, give me. Come on now, work me out. Thanks, Leo. Um, and I think this might be the one that got me the award, is that to be collaborative and open to change. Um, since 2021, I've become a bit of a co-teaching specialist, and I'm regularly collaborating with different faculty members or graduate students on various classes. The first time I co-taught was in 2021. It was all online, and it was completely awkward, as you can expect. But by 2022, when we're back to face-to-face, I was given this class called Art in Action, and it was the goal is to create art lesson plans and then provide them to the public. And I got to work with Frankie Gutierrez, who was a graduate student at the time. And Frank and I had worked together on the little gallery prior to him even coming to grad school. So he and I had this relationship, and he had also had taken some classes here at the teaching certificate. So he brought in a lot of fundamentals that I didn't have, and I wound up learning so much from Frank as we co-wrote the syllabus. And excuse me, as we Frank brought that in, but through the little gallery, I had connections to the local institutions, and we collaborated with the Garcia Center for the Arts and Young Samoa to offer our classes after, so we put the students out into the world. And it turned out fantastic, and it was such like a wonderful experience. The following year, I did cut and paste the same class with a different graduate student, and we expanded it to the Fontana's Art Depot Gallery. So we did the Garcia Center for the Arts, Young Samoa, Fontana's Art Depot Gallery, and we sent our students to provide art lessons to the public. And I thought it was really successful, and yada yada. It kind of comes to a crashing end in 2024, where at first it was very exciting because Dr. Scow from mathematics department and I were co-teaching a class in the honors department that was investigating photography and mathematics and how our world is really ruled by algorithms and lenses. I won't go further. I'll just leave it there for now. In the class, the students were going to create artwork inspired by the readings, discussions, and mathematical logic games, and they were going to create an art exhibition in the honors department, and none of these students were artists. So it was fantastic, but I had cancer, and I had to halfway through, I had to like dip out for cancer treatments, and that class I never finished. And unfortunately, Dr. Scow got left holding the bag, so to speak. But she persevered, and she still turned the class out, and it went wonderful. But this spring, we got to do it a second time, and I got to make it through the whole time, and it was the most like life-affirming class, like in terms of like choosing to be an artist, choosing to be a teacher, choosing to share information, and like collaborate with different people from different disciplines, and really seeing how all of our different disciplines are kind of fighting for the same thing. So that class was wonderful. As you can tell in my voice, I was really touched by it. And then currently, Frank and I have our tag team back together again, and we are currently teaching a art and bookmaking class, which we're meeting later tonight. And I can't say enough about Frank Gutierrez. He's not here. Or Dr. Scow or any of my co-teachers. I mean, because I feel like I learn from them as much as they might learn from me. And whenever we are faced with some sort of problem, keep it flexible, keep it moving, open to change, open to collaborate, and keep trying to do our best, and that's all we can ask for. And I believe that's how I got this. And I thank you for honoring me, and I thank you for allowing me to speak. Thank you very much.